Loon. Named for a bird, but it more aptly describes my mental state after a day skiing there. Sure, let's just take the entirety of Boston and dump it in the whites each weekend. What could possibly go wrong? Now, Loon is one of the most popular East Coast ski resorts due to its proximity to Boston. They say it takes 2 hours to drive to, but realistically it takes 4 hours, 3 white monsters, 2 detours, and a little bit of road rage. But don't worry, once you get there, it won't be worth it. The entire mountain is one giant gimmick. Loon is like your neighbor's chihuahua. Yeah, it barks real sharply and maybe it runs fast, but its flat groomer teeth will do about as much damage to your legs as a mousetrap on an elephant. And speaking of which, their train that they love to advertise oh so much is about as big as a chihuahua, but we'll come back to that in a bit. While we're on the subject of access and navigation, what's with this trail map? As if navigating Boston traffic and your parking mess wasn't enough, I gotta try and get around the mountain with a map straight out of Goonies. Of course, we can't talk about Loon without talking about the lifts. The Kankamagis 8 is nice, I'll give you that, but it serves 5 of the exact same run. And of course, there's no shot that the people who have never heard of the grid system are going to figure out how to consistently load 8 per chair. It truly does make you wonder why Boyne spent so much money on such a nice lift. The last time we gave the city of Boston something nice, they threw it in the harbor. Also recently, they constructed a fixed grip quad on the South Peak side of the mountain. Only problem is, they built it at about as low of an elevation as possible. Instead of Timbertown, maybe they should have called it Sometime It, since sometime it snow, sometime it rain, and sometime it do nothing at all for a month. Should have taken the money for the lift and used it to build a giant bubble around the whole mountain instead. Speaking of South Peak, I've got 2 bones to pick. The first relates to my visit back in December. They were having one of their best starts in recent memory and had been advertising all over the place about how much terrain they had open, comprising a majority of the entire resort. So I fly all the way out there just to find that they're closing South Peak down on the weekdays. No reasoning given whatsoever. So yeah, thanks for that. And on the other South Peak front, could we just take a moment to remember this giant expansion that you hyped up and then tried to erase? I mean seriously, how are you going to put up all these signs making false promises and then erase it from the website altogether? Thanks for the new Pulse gondola, I guess, but it seems like Boyne gave Kankamagis as a consolation prize for a 3rd grader placing last in a soccer tournament. Hype the kid up, then turn around and forget about him like the leftovers in the back of the fridge. Of course, this whole argument ignores the sole biggest problem with Loon, the gondola. I went on an early season Thursday, having seen absolutely 0 lift lines across the entirety of New England and the days prior. But somehow, the gondola had a 15-minute wait. I can only imagine what those lines are like on the weekends, but yet all you Bostonians keep going back, like lemmings. I mean seriously, I thought we were going to a ski resort, not Black Friday shopping. Once you fight through that disaster, you get treated to these tiny, just absolutely pathetic cabins. They'll shove 4 of you in there like you're anchovies in a can. And of course, the gondola is like a giant sail, so if you're not claustrophobic, you'll probably be seasick. I thought I was going skiing, not serving time on a submarine. Although, I guess these cabins match your sad, sad little train. That poor thing is practically the little engine that couldn't. I was under the impression that there would be some big, majestic train connecting North and South Peaks. Instead, it's a mall train that connects the Octagon and Governor Adams. That's like expecting a 5-course meal and getting served Dunkin' instead. Oh yeah, I went there. Now, picking on individual runs feels a bit like beating a dead horse, but somehow among the chaos there are still a few standouts. Bearclaw on a Saturday afternoon looks worse than a horde of Bruins fans stumbling out after a shootout loss. I mean seriously, you look up from the bottom and would think it's a morgue with how many bodies there are. I think Grand Junction could benefit from its own version of the Big Dig, because as it sits right now, it's as if the 90, 93, and 95 all had one giant at-grade crossing with no ramps or traffic control. There are several learning areas spread across the mountain. One of these is called Kissin' Cousin. I mean, honestly, the jokes write themselves. And of course, I know the whole Ice Coast trope, but Flume takes it to a whole different level. I guess those Bruins fans we mentioned need someplace to make them feel at home on an ice rink. The biggest thing I just don't understand about Loon is the order of prioritization they've had. Upgrading Kankamagis instead of the gondola. Opening South Peak but not keeping it open. Running Seven Brothers on weekends only. It's all just baffling to me. But I suppose that's just what you get when a Michigan company meets the Boston accent. They probably just don't understand anything y'all say. At the end of the day, I had a blast at Loon. The views are incredible and the Loon Peak runs were fantastic. But even on an early season weekday, I could visualize the crowds. I could feel the chaos in my veins. Why, Boston? Why? There are so many other mountains in New England. Live a little, explore somewhere else. But nonetheless, thanks for being such gracious hosts, and have a wonderful ski season. Let me know of anything I missed down below. All my love, I'm out.